A fortnight after their surprise win over Limerick, Longford were back in championship action last night. Glenn Ryan's team hoping to take another step on their championship journey. Wexford lost their Leinster semi-final to Meath and arrived in the Midlands as most pundits' favourites to progress to round 3. Both teams deserve huge credit for the entertainment they provided in the exceptionally warm and humid conditions. Longford, who were wearing white jerseys, opened the scoring in the 4th minute. Seanie McCormack's effort coming back off the post, J.J. Matthews on hand to send it over. Dual player Lee Chin was an absentee from the Wexford team with a knee injury. The early exchanges were tight, Adrian Flynn tying up the match at 1 point each. Having lost all their league matches, Longford clearly drew heart from the win over Limerick, a point from Seanie McCormack proving that for some teams it's all about championship. John Keegan was on target here as the Midlanders led by 6 points to 2 after half an hour. And they continued to dominate proceedings. The last score of the half from Michael Brady meant it was Longford ahead by 8 points to 4 at half-time. Wexford manager Aidan O'Brien surely had harsh words for his team during the break as they made a blistering start to the second half. Within 4 minutes of the resumption they had a goal. Andreas Doyle's initial shot saved by goalkeeper Damien Sheridan, but PJ Banville was lurking with intent and sent the ball to the net. Despite the setback, Longford continued to kick some quality scores, including this excellent individual effort from Paul Barden, the captain doing all the hard work himself. But Wexford rallied again, Paddy Byrne setting up Daithí Waters for their second goal, and Longford's lead was down to a point with 15 minutes left. With the momentum now, Wexford drew level soon after through Parnell's clubman Andreas Doyle, and an exciting finish was in prospect for the crowd of just over 2,000. With time almost up, Daithí Waters thought he'd won the game for the Wexford men, but there was one late twist, Seanie McCormack nailing a long-range free, and the game was heading for a draw, 2-8 to 14 points. The match had been played in a great sporting spirit, but a melee after the final whistle spoiled things. It appears that Graham Malloy and Paul Barden became entangled on the ground, and the rest of the players piled in. Referee Pádraig O'Sullivan took no disciplinary action, and it was all systems go for extra time. Wexford took control of proceedings in extra time. They registered 3 points without reply, 2 frees first, then Ben Brosnan scored from play. The home supporters did have something to cheer about when Seanie McCormack steered over a difficult free, and Wexford were 3 points up at half-time in extra time. The away team pressed home their advantage in the run for home, Kieran Ling finishing a well-worked team move to round off the scoring and complete a 5-point win. Plenty of tired legs at the end of an exciting contest at Pearse Park. It ended Wexford 2-15, Longford 16 points after extra time.
Look, I'm obviously pleased to get the win. Very disappointed with the way we played in the first half. I thought our performance was way below what we would expect. I'm sure the players would feel likewise, but I thought we showed some character in the second half, got ourselves back into the game, and once we got into extra time then we saw it out well, I thought.
Very disappointed at this stage, but hugely proud and great admiration for those bunch of players. They left everything they had out in that field, and we probably were good enough to win it in normal time. But when it went to extra time, I think Wexford were probably deserving of their win.
Familiar faces going toe-to-toe on a scorching hot evening in Cavan town, just a few weeks after their Ulster Championship meeting in Enniskillen, which Cavan won by 2 points. This, though, was a match that would be recalled for all the wrong reasons. A mass half-time brawl, and by the end of the game, 3 players had been red-carded. They say repeat fixtures seldom follow the pattern of the first game. Well, this one did. As was the case at Brewster Park, Cavan started like a steam train, Eugene Keating with an excellent opening point to set Cavan on their way. This was the 5th championship meeting between the sides in 5 years, and Cavan continued to settle into a groove, Fergal Flanagan giving them a 2-point advantage. With Fermanagh struggling to get a foothold, Cavan continued to dictate, midfielder Damien O'Reilly with his kicking boots in good working order. 3 points to no score to Cavan. In the Enniskillen clash, it took Fermanagh until the 26th minute to land their first score, but they raised a white flag in the 11th minute. Sean Quigley with a fine point. But then Cavan struck for a goal that knocked the stuffing out of Fermanagh. Two of Cavan's finest combining. Cian Mackey has been excellent this season, and he showed great vision to pick out Martin Dunn, and the Cavan Gales man did the rest. A composed finish to put Cavan in the box seat, 1-3 to a point. And Cavan managed to keep the Ernsiders at arm's length. Ronan Flanagan put them 6 clear 5 minutes before half-time. By and large, this game was played in the right spirit, but it boiled over a few minutes before half-time. It was a portent of things to come. When these two sides met in the league in March, referee Michael Duffy issued 4 reds and 13 yellows, and he was a busy man again at Kingspan Breffni Park, dishing out the cards. Right on the blow of half-time, it all got out of hand again. A mass brawl broke out. It wasn't helped by the fact that mentors from both sides spilled onto the pitch. All very unseemly. The atmosphere threatened to turn nasty. Eventually it calmed down. The players headed for the dressing rooms separately. Before the start of the second half, Michael Duffy took action. A straight red card for Sean Quigley. Further sanctions followed, with Cavan selector Anthony Ford banished from the dugout, and he was quickly followed by the Fermanagh water carrier Lorcan Martin. The loss of Quigley was a blow from which Fermanagh never recovered from, but Cavan found themselves reduced to 14 men in the 18th minute when Martin Riley picked up a second yellow. But before long, Fermanagh were down to 13. Shane McCabe sent to the line as he picked up his second yellow. After that, Cavan strolled to victory. David Givney landed a point to send the Breffni men 7 points clear. And then Martin Dunn tucked over to bring his tally for the evening to a goal and 3. So Cavan march on. Handshakes at the finish, but it's just a pity that this match won't be remembered for the football. It finished Cavan 114, Fermanagh 10 points.
Well, my job is to come out here and win a game, and that's what we come to do, and we won the game. And I can't, the fracas, as you call it, or whatever it was at half-time, I can't really comment because, I was looking out to keep our players on the pitch, and whatever happened behind my back, so I'm not sure what happened.
Well, I'd rather talk about the football. I'll not talk about the referee, or I'll end up getting myself in bother. I'll leave that for the many neutrals that are at the game to comment on the referee's performance. But I'm just disappointed for that group of players in there that have given everything this year, and they're bitterly disappointed in there at the minute.
OK, that's understandable. These fracas, whatever we'll call them, involved in both games, Eamon. What did you make of it?
Well, it's ugly scenes, I suppose. It's what we don't want in the GEA. But, looking at it, when we look at it down, we look at the pictures there, there's so many people. Now, this is Sean Quigley, we can see, or Shane Quigley. He sort of lashes out and then he throws kind of an uppercut. Now, it was seen. But our biggest issue here, and when we see the second game as well, there's so many officials. This is not just players, this is officials, this is water boys, this is
an official
mentors.
Yeah,
exactly, and he came in from behind. Now, there's a lot of jostling and pulling, and there's nothing really vicious about a lot of it. Now, this is stemming from the fact that both Fermanagh and Cavan have played previous. It's a local derby. There's definitely, they'll know each other quite well. So there's, as Kevin alluded to there off air, that they've played. They trained for the last 6, 7, 8 months for this opportunity, and it's all about winning. Yeah. Michael Duffy dealt with it quite well. This here was a little bit more of a, we can see here where the
this is comical. Look,
this is comical. This is funny. This is like a man. He threw away, took off his glasses, throws them to the doctor on the way, and then he jumps in. It's like a 14 and 15-year-olds at a Rihanna concert fighting for a position to get a look at her. They're just pushing and pulling. There's nothing vicious in it. Lads standing over again. It's petty. It's silly.
Kevin,
it's unwanted.
Kevin, taking off the glasses like that doesn't do him any favours.
Of course, it's funny, but of course it's not funny really. He's a grown man. I mean, in a place he shouldn't be in. I hope he's suitably embarrassed by those pictures, because you see they've made the argument completely for the Uachtaráin. These officials have no business on the field. In one match, there was extra time to be prepared. Those managers should have been down the tunnel waiting for their team to come in to sort out everything that needed sorting out. But they're not. They're going in, pulling and pushing. And the problem I have, Des, is that rarely are the suspensions commensurate with these infractions. Like, I'd say in the history of the GA, they've always given out the minimum in the book. Because it's a kind of a soft underbelly we have when it comes to indiscipline. It's the last great challenge. I said that to you this afternoon. Yeah. For some reason, we don't seem to have the drive to take